Welcome. In this video, I am going to teach you about the AP Psychology EBQ for the year 2025. This is new for the year 2025. It stands for Evidence-Based Question. And now the one that I'm actually going to write this. So if you're a new teacher or you're a student that wants to actually see someone write one, then this video is for you. That's how I like to learn. I'm not the best reader or writer. I'm a pretty good writer, but I want to see people on YouTube. They don't do this very often, but I want to see people actually write it, and I'm going to do that for you. And I did look at the keys, so don't worry about that. I know what I'm doing. Now, where is this FRQ? Well, hopefully I've given it to you in some other way, but let me show you where I found it. So I'm on page 162 of the AP Psychology CED. So this is open and this is out. The College Board doesn't mind me talking about this. It's public knowledge. It's out there for everyone. So don't worry about it. But it's on page 162 of this. And yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. You need to have a copy of it. Go to the CED, or maybe I gave it to you, however you're getting this. And you're going to have 3 documents plus the question, and you need to look at that. And I'm not going to sit here and read that to you. It's just not necessary. Okay. But general tips, the EBQ is very important. It is the same amount of points as the AAQ, which is the other type of FRQ for AP Psychology. Remember, you're doing this for college credits, so write well. Use complete sentences. Use academic language. Okay? In my opinion, the EBQ isn't a whole lot of writing, but it is a lot of reading. But even if it is a lot of writing, you're on a keyboard, you're not handwriting it, so just go crazy, all right? Read the question. Now, here's another tip I recommend. Read the question first, then go and read the documents. And I'll show you how to do that. It might be easier when you're actually taking the test, but on this document, it's actually kind of hard to find. I'll show you what I mean by that. And if you've ever taken APUSH or AP World, this is not as hard as the DBQ. All right, and nothing is as hard as that. All right, let's be honest. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, first of all, let's take a look at the question. It's in bold. I put it in bold because I thought it was kind of hard to find. Using the sources provided, develop and justify an argument about the best time for school to start for students in grades 6 to 12. Okay, so we're talking about adolescents, high schoolers and middle schoolers, not elementary school. We're talking about basically middle school and high school, or whatever you call it in your country. Okay, so now the rest of this stuff is going to be the same for no matter what EBQ you get. It's going to look exactly the same. The only thing that's going to change is what I put in bold here. We're talking about what is the best time to start school. Is it 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., later? Okay, and you are going to have to make a decision on that. And then you're going to have to argue in support of what you decide. All right, so look at part A. Propose a specific and defensible claim based in psychological science that responds to the question. In other words, you're going to have to make up your mind, you're going to have to make a statement, and then you're going to have to spend the rest of your EBQ defending that and backing it up with evidence. Okay, it's only one sentence. A is only one sentence. A is, in my opinion, a pretty easy point. You just got to make a decision. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the EBQ. Okay, this is what it looks like. Now on this one, the EBQ is after, these are all the sources. Notice this is source 1, and even has a big number 1 there. That's good, that's handy. Number 2, source 2, and then source 3 with a big number 3. So on this page, it's kind of hard to find, but here it is right here. Using the sources provided, develop and justify an argument about the best time for school to start for students in grades 6 to 12. In my opinion, that's not very easy to find, but there it is. So now that you know what you are looking for, you're going to need to pause the video and go read the documents. And while you're reading, you need to think, okay, I'm trying to figure out what is the best time to start school. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, something like that. I wouldn't get ridiculous and say noon, even though that might be a good idea, but more like, anyway, I would be like either right now, typically it's 8 a.m., typically, but there are some districts that start earlier than that, and then some start at 9. But start with the standard would be like 8 or 8:30. You're going to argue whether or not it should be delayed. All right, so pause the video and go read it. I'm going to scroll through here slowly. If you want to fast forward through this part and use your own documents, that's fine, but you can fast forward through this part. This is just in case you don't have it. All right, I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. Okay, so those are your documents. Okay. Now, you're going to probably go back and look at those, because personally, I can't just read something once. I'm not the best reader. I got to go back and look at it. But these are your directions. Part A, state your argument. And that should be just one sentence, one point, and then you move on to B. Part B, support your claim that you made in Part A. Support your claim or your argument using at least one piece of specific and relevant evidence from one of the sources. So source 1, source 2, source 3. Then you need to elaborate on that. Explain how the evidence from Part B that you just said supports your claim using a psychological perspective, theory, concept, or research finding learned in AP psychology. In other words, you need to know something that's not in the document. Okay, and if you don't know anything, then that's it. You're screwed. Okay, you're just not going to do that good on it. So you need to be confident, and you need to study before the AP exam, and you need to know stuff. Okay, then you're going to do it again with C, but you're going to use a different source, one step at a time. So let's go ahead and start our first point. Okay, so part A, let's get our first sentence here. Make your claim, be firm, be specific. And this is what you're going to write. You're going to write something like, the starting times for schools for students in grades 6 to 12 should be changed to blank. And you're going to have to make that decision. If you want to argue that it should remain at 8 o'clock, that's fine, but I don't know how you're going to support that based on the documents. But even if you said 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, you would get the point here, but I don't know how you would back that up using psychology. So really you're going to have to say 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock. If you don't want to be specific, then you could say later than 8 o'clock. All right, so pause, write it, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to write right now. Okay? Okay. Boom. That's it. All right. That's it. That's all you got to write. That's your argument. Then you got to move on to part B. And in part B, you're going to back this up. Okay. So let's take a look at part B. All right. So you have three sources, source one, source two, and source three. You need to choose one source for now. Just choose one to support your argument that you just wrote. 9 a.m. Okay. Go back and reread or skim to look for something to support your argument that school should start later. All right, so let's go take a look. Okay. Now, there's a lot of mental work here that I cannot illustrate to you. I'm just trying to model what it's going to look like. That's just how I do it. That's how I like to show this to you. All right, so I'm looking at source one. I'm looking for support that school time should be delayed. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Results and discussion. Results showed that students in school districts that moved to a later start time reported higher GPAs, and that higher proportions of those students reported obtaining the recommended hours of sleep as compared with students in districts with earlier school time. Okay, so better grades, better GPA, and more sleep. Okay. Um, all right. So that's support right there. So this is what we're going to do. Let's go write part B. All right. So how do you cite a source? Well, you could do according to source one and then write your stuff. Or you could write your stuff, your support, and then at the end of the sentence write parentheses source one. Either one works just fine. Okay. So let's do source one. Okay. According to source one, students whose schools start later than 8 a.m. Let's double check, make sure I'm getting this right. That move to a later start time. Okay, we're not quoting, but we are. But a little bit of quoting is fine. Who have a later start time, later than 8 a.m., for example. All right, students whose schools have a later start time, later than 8 a.m., for example, enjoy a better academic performance. Period. I'm just going to leave that there and then just start a new sentence. So this, you could think of this as a topic sentence. Topic sentences aren't necessary, but you know what? You're on a typewriter. Just do it. I mean, if you know what to do, just do it. It won't take long. When you're handwriting, you know, you got to be careful not to get hand cramps. But since you're typing, don't worry about it. Enjoy better academic performance. All right, so let me go. Um, So I just cited source one. And now I need to explain it a little bit. Okay, so why are kids getting a higher GPA? You need to add a little bit of flair to that. Okay, students enjoy a higher GPA since they are shown to fall asleep less often in class. Okay, that might be good enough right there. You just backed up what you said in the sentence before. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit something else to it because I can type. It's not going to take me long. Okay. Also, since students are in, actually, you know what? Now that I have backed it up, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another point. Let's go back and look. So your first point, all right, so part B is you cite a source. I did that. And then I explained how the evidence supports it. I said that the kids fall asleep less often in class. Now what I need to do, because this part 2 is worth it's worth 2 points. Support your claim using a psychological perspective, theory, or concept, research finding learned in AP psychology, something that's not in the documents. So this is where you're going to have to know your stuff. So you need to sit here and think, okay, what does sleep and grades have to do with each other? Okay, I already said that they fall asleep less often in class, but you know what? That was in the document. I need something that's not in the document. So this is where you're going to need to pause and try to think of something that you could put here that was not in the document. So hit pause, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. All right. Studies have shown that sleep, especially REM sleep in the morning hours, help consolidate memories. Thus, students who enjoy more sleep will have a better memory for I don't like to use the word things when I'm writing for college, for facts and concepts they need to know for school. Boom. That's it. Okay. So I cited it according to source one, and then I cited the article. That's a point. Students enjoy a higher GPA since they are shown to fall asleep less often in class. So I backed it up a little bit. That's another point. And then another point is I cited information that is not in the document. I used knowledge that I learned from class that was not mentioned in the document. So what I wrote right here is worth 3 points. Okay, so the argument, part A, that's a point. And here, it's worth 3 points. Notice I only used source 1. I didn't use source 2 or source 3 yet. That's it. Now move on. Now we're going to do this again. Okay, we're going to do this again. Okay, now, so moving right along. Now we're going to do part C. We're going to do the exact same thing, except we are not going to use source 1. We're going to either use source 2 or source 3. So I want you to pause the video and go back and look at source 2 and source 3 to look for another way to back up your argument that school should start later than 8 a.m. All right, go do that. All right, so let's take a look at the document source 2. Okay, there might be something here. By the way, we need something that's not academic improvement. We need something else. All right, we need something that's not academic. So how does sleep benefit students in a way that's not academic? And this is not easy when you're writing this stuff. You need to come up with this yourself. Source 2 honestly doesn't look, I don't quite see anything in source 2, but in source 3, pediatric health issues. The American Academy of Pediatrics recognizes that insufficient sleep is an important issue for adolescents. Evidence strongly suggests that earlier school times contribute to sleep deprivation. The American Academy of Pediatrics strongly supports efforts to set school times to get more sleep for their physical and mental health, safety, academic performance, and quality of life. Boom. Okay. So we already did academic performance. So we need to focus on something else for this next part. Okay. So how about this? Go ahead and glance over that real quick. We don't mess with academic performance. Do everything else, or just one. Look at that. An increase in anxiety and mood disorders has been linked. That's correlation to poor quality and deprivation of sleep. Okay. Adolescents are also at greater risk of drowsy driving related crashes because of sleep deprivation. Okay. All right. So just focus on sleep deprivation. So let's do part C. Okay. According to source 3, the American Academy of Pediatrics supports and advocates delaying the start of the school day for students aged in grades 6 through 12. You could have just said teenagers, that would have been fine. Okay. We're not trying to be perfect here. Okay. I mean, you do the best you can, trust me. Now you need to back it up. All right. Back this up. Delaying school will reduce sleep deprivation, which I'm just going to end the sentence. Sleep deprivation has been shown to, and I'm using the document here, but I'm backing it up, shown to reduce sleep deprived related driving accidents for older teens. Boom, I just backed it up. So I cited it according to source 3, I cited it, then I backed it up with something. Now I need to add something that's not in the documents, and then I'll be done. So I need to come up with something that is involving physical or psychological health. Okay, and there's a lot that you can do. How about this? A full night's sleep facilitates, I love that word, that's a big word in social studies, facilitates a full night's sleep reduces sports related injuries. That is true. Since sleep helps muscle coordination. Okay, now I've got time because I'm typing and I just want to put one more thing in case that didn't get the point. So how about this? Having enough sleep from a delayed school start time will enable the body to have a healthy amount of neurotransmitters such as norepinephrine and acetylcholine. I spelled it right, yeah. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, acetylcholine, which will help the physical and emotional health of teenagers. Boom. All right, so here we go. Part C. I cited the source, I backed it up, and then I added what I think is 2 sources of information that is not listed in the documents. And that is it. That is an EBQ. Okay, and I am very aware that I made it look easier than it actually is, but I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but this is what the EBQ looks like, and they're all going to look the same. It's just the topic and the documents are going to change. All right, that's it for the EBQ. Thank you.